It has not been the easiest of times for Charles Leclerc in this F1 25 season, driving for us with a DNF in his first ever race, and then the next one we took charge of him beaching it on a curb and getting disqualified in qualifying, and then in the race so close to a podium and facing an unbreakable bollard. Really not an ideal way to start life at a new team, let alone for this world champion in this alternate F1 universe. Leclerc, having won in Season 2, went away from Ferrari, had a torrid time at McLaren, moved to us, the new reigning Constructors champions, with the new reigning champ Tim Tramnitz, probably thinking it was going to be an amazing move, and it seems like the bad luck has followed him here, or follows him everywhere indeed. Only 8 points on the board, some points at least in Jeddah, but we're still yet to fully kickstart. We're continuing to bring in more durability upgrades as we try and max out that side of the car, whereas elsewhere performance wise we have already maxed out, as many teams have. There have been some movements for, I think that's Renault, mostly closing up to the kind of big top pack there, but it's so zoomed in, the R&D chart, that like in F1 Manager, in our F1 Manager series, really, it is going to be a track-to-track driver making the difference, or the team suiting the track better, just like in real life, really. And it has thrown up a really competitive season so far, where there have been 3 different winners in the first 3 races. Is there about to be a 4th one? And do we have any chance of doing that? I would love to kickstart Leclerc's season here with a win. We're going to Miami, 2 chances to race in the sprint and the full Grand Prix. Let's hopefully not face the same bad luck we have so far.
It is driver versus stopwatch. It is a venue that is new to Formula One in recent years, but you have to dance the car to the edge. It is Miami, it is qualifying. Who will take the pole?
Well, going into this race weekend, I'm hoping to lift the dark cloud over Leclerc's head, but the dark clouds have indeed arrived at Miami, as it is a very wet circuit. Full wets needed, and on our first flyer, we get blocked to no end by Leclerc's old friend, old teammate, Carlos Sainz. Both of us having a bit of a moment there through the right-hander, but Sainz holding us up by about a second, I would say, in that first sector. So we're going to finish the lap, but it's going to be pretty damn slow, and we will improve by a lot on the second run. Thankfully, being a full wet session, as usual, I like to fuel up the car for a few consecutive laps. It's a little bit tricky with the battery, but you save a lot of battery around a wet lap. So even though we started that lap with maybe, in the teens for the percentages, we're going to save battery everywhere. You can see we're already at 30%, to be honest, and we're now gaining nearly 6/10. Okay, so not quite a second we lost with Sainz, but still a considerable amount. Purple middle sector showing that we do have a little bit of pace here, but a big tank slapper, massive drift through the final corner, but it's still going to be a pretty respectable amount of time gained. 1.5 to 1.6 seconds gained. We're up to second place. Slower than Sainz though, but quicker than Tramnitz's first lap, quicker than Ocon and Marti. But by the end of the session, others just kept going quicker and quicker, and we timed that a little bit awkwardly. Honestly, we should have gone out later. I wanted to get right out there, make the most of the track time, but because of the timing, I didn't have enough time in this shortened sprint quali to come back in, fuel up, go out again, and the same for Tramnitz. So Tramnitz, way down in 19th place. He was used to, from last episode, starting at the back of the group with the penalty, but he's going to have to start the sprint from quite far back as well. We're P13. We've been beaten by the likes of a BMW, of Zane Maloney, Dubin in the Renault. So that was a very topsy-turvy sprint quali. To be fair, others getting caught out. Piastri, the championship leader, only 2 places ahead of us. So that was a bit of chaos, and it's going to make this sprint very interesting because it's in the dry. So it's the first time all of us are out there in bone dry conditions, in anger as well. So that's going to be a big question mark. And actually now, in hindsight, I can tell you, I actually put the wings up in that sprint quali, but I didn't really think about, if it's a dry race, that's going to maybe hurt us quite a bit. So I'm a little bit worried here. We do have the brand new AI patch, of course, to help out AI acceleration but our wing levels might just hurt us more as we go to lights out, and we're underway for the sprint in Miami. Trying to cut through on the inside to get a nice dive going on Maloney, doing Piastri, trying to make 3 overtakes work into turn 1. Might just work out. The Renault tries to get his elbows out to maintain position, but we do get up into 10th place. Then Piastri following through in P11. Max Verstappen leads the way in the McLaren. Gasly second place, showing that Piastri really is out of position, and Verstappen showing obviously how good of a driver he is, always dragging that McLaren up when Lance Stroll is down the order, as we now watch on Lawson versus Norris. But look at how much overspeed Piastri has. That's not the AI. That's my wing level. That's how badly I've maybe messed up here by putting the wings up. I don't know why. I just didn't factor in, oh, the weather might change into the race. I just thought, oh, okay, I'm desperate for some performance with Leclerc here. Let's put the wings up. We're going to fight through in the corners, because clearly in the corners, I have way more grip because of the higher wings as we kind of wrestle our way through on Lando Norris. I feel like embodying Leclerc's spirit. I feel like lately in the 2025 season, Leclerc's become a very, very aggressive driver because he's getting very frustrated with his situation. So I feel like I'm embodying that a little bit here, frustrated with my mistake of the wing levels and, you know, forcing our way through into 9th place. Every time we get to a corner, we will be so much quicker, but on the straights, we're going to have to tactically use our battery a lot, which, to be fair, is no different to pre-patch Miami as we watch Gasly overtake Verstappen. This is a replay, technically, not live here, synced up with our own onboard gameplay. That was on lap 1. Gasly overtaking Verstappen for the lead. So is it going to be the 2 former Red Bull teammates from some time ago in 2019 fighting each other for the sprint win as we now close up to Tsunoda and Lawson? The Williams unsighted a little bit into the next corner, and we basically catch him completely unawares, napping there. Now gaining on Lawson with DRS open, and we now go to turn 1. Lawson with a little bit of an early break point, and I've already seen some of the comments online. Apparently the new AI patch has made the break point for turn 1 Miami a little bit too early, it would seem, even though they've fixed the acceleration a little bit. Turn 1 Miami a little bit too early, and that was a very apparent there, you would say. And then at the same time, I think a good point that was made that I didn't make at the time in my AI patch video was they still haven't really adjusted anything with the dirty air and slipstream, so that's maybe still something that's lacking there. But I certainly have felt that the AI have been punchier into the corners fighting you, and then it's been a little bit less obvious that they're pulling away. Obviously right now in this sprint they're pulling away from me because, oh wow, okay, because my wings are too high, and now my DRS is broken again. Is this just, this honestly, is that, can we just agree now, this seems to just be a thing now with our Porsche car in season 4. Outstanding. This is what I say, like, even if the R&D doesn't get reset and nothing changes, I'm adamant season to season cars change characteristics, because what is this? We're just getting chronic rear wing failures every single episode we've seen. Is make a double pass on Ocon and Lawson, red flag behind us. That might just help us out actually, because that'll bunch things up and we'll make this sprint an extra sprint in the middle of it, as we, you know, we're just using our brake power with the higher wings as much as we can. But this is, oh wow, guess who spun it? Imagine my shock. Lance Stroll spun it. He's caused a massive pile-up, and that definitely needs to be a red flag. A few of you guys saying we've maybe had some excessive red flags as of late. I agree. It's been a little bit much, but that definitely was cause for a red flag with the pile-ups. And I saw no reason why not to go to the softs, but to my surprise, everyone else on mediums here. We've only got 3 laps, lads, to go. And so as we get underway for the second time in the Miami sprint, 3 wide for P1. Verstappen, Gasly and Sainz all coming together a little bit. A bit of contact was made, got very frosty between, I think it was Gasly on the inside and Verstappen. We're up to P5. Tsunoda is out of this race now, so chaos continuing here in Miami. But because we're the only car on softs and with the higher wing levels, I'm going to be an absolute menace in the corners now. The grip we're going to have with a step softer tyre and the higher wings, we're just going to be able to get these guys so easily in the corners, and it's just a case of trying to use the soft tyre traction to pull away. Like I said, tactically using the battery to try and stay ahead in a straight line. You can see Gasly's gaining on us because of the wing level, but then in the brake zone, I can gain so much on Sainz, and so we are going to try and make that move now. Purple middle sector, no surprise. DRS open, he goes to the inside, we go around the outside, and we're making these overtakes look easy in the corners, even with the AI patch, just because of that wing level plus the soft tyre, because trust me, I genuinely do believe the AI have got a lot better into the turns. You can't dive bomb them as much, and I think they definitely dive bomb you a bit more, actually. I've seen with some further testing, in between the AI patch update video I did and this episode of this career. But this is just a storm, a perfect storm of the right things. The red flag, higher wings, soft tyre, as we go from left to right on the last lap of this sprint. Last corner, we drift through the final corner, and we are going to come through for some happiness for Leclerc. It's the sprint win in Miami.
Yes, and that's a podium. Excellent drive. The whole team have worked especially hard this weekend, and that, my friend, is a fantastic reward. Well done.
Amazing. The car was incredible today, really. Well done, guys.
It's a first happy team radio from Leclerc that we've had all season. Unbelievable. Yeah, perfect storm in a bottle with that red flag. That was lucky, to be fair, with that, because, we were finding it difficult before the red flag with the wings. We did well to make use of what we had, and, we were being clever. We got up to, what was it, P6. I think we would have been maximum staying there in P6 if it wasn't for that red flag. And then some odd reason of not of everyone just going on mediums instead of softs seemed like a no-brainer for us. And I guess that's what we bring to the table, is those decisions, very fast thinking of, making the most of it, basically. So nice to get a few more points on the board. It's not an amazing amount being a sprint race, 8 points, but it's something. It's momentum to carry on into the full Grand Prix sessions. And that's going to include another wet qualifying, the full qualifying being wet. But you can see there, I dramatically dropped my wings back down to kind of where they usually are in the default Miami setup. For those of you wondering about my setups, I've said this before in a video in a previous season. I pretty much run near default, just some changes to the brake pressures basically and the tires, and sometimes the wings, but mostly not really, because I like to run default. I think it makes it a fairer fight with the AI and just kind of feels the most comfortable for me personally. So for any of you guys ever wondering, yeah, I actually just genuinely don't change my setups really that much, because I always think the F1 games always felt the best out the box with the default one in the middle. As it wasn't a great initial lap there on the full wets, the lower wings, I was really not used to them, and compared to sprint quali, I felt so nervous out there with the lower wings and the full wets. But thankfully, as you can clearly see, it's dried out now to inters. We're stone dead last though, so this needs to be a good lap. It's our one and only lap here in the session to nail this. From last place, we're gaining over 6 seconds. That's how much quicker the track has got onto intermediate. So it really was very wet out there, but now it's so much better. And crossing the line, end of the session, from last place up to third, and Tramnitz will be P4. So it's probably our best qualifying as a team here in Season 4. 3-4 there, but Yuki Tsunoda take a bow in the Williams on full pole position for the Miami Grand Prix alongside Verstappen. Obviously, IRL, former Red Bull teammates, and now at Williams and McLaren now in this career series, just showing you how divergent we've become. An amazing quali for doing in the Renault to be ahead of the likes of the Hondas and Mercedes cars. But I'm really chuffed with 3 and 4 for Tramnitz there. With the lower wings, we shouldn't have the same problem in the race. So actually, bring on this full Grand Prix. It might actually be an absolute banger for us.
F1 seems to be growing by the day in the USA, and today's race is a testament to that. It's time for the Miami Grand Prix. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Yuki Tsunoda lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Tramnitz, Piastri, Jack Doohan, and Colapinto, Norris, Lawson, Sainz, and Lance Stroll, Verstappen, Maloney, Nicolas Solov, Aaron, Albon, Crawford, Pepe Marti, and Zach O'Sullivan, Ocon, Bortoletto, Gasly, and Isaac Hadjar rounds off the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me, a real authority on all things motor racing. It's a warm welcome back to Anthony Davidson. Now, those final hours before a race, did you have a routine?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
Our best qualifying to date in this Season 4 as aarava Porsche Racing. Really want to make the most of this, and we have to now, especially because we're on the front row. Verstappen with a penalty, engine component penalty, I'm assuming. So it really is a case of Verstappen, his brilliance, having to constantly fight the McLaren this season. It's a wonder how he even got that one race win that he did earlier on in the season, as we now line up alongside Tsunoda. Tramnitz up to third, Piastri, the championship leader, P4, ever present and consistent, it would seem, in this season, Doohan up into a top 5 for Renault. I think we can have a really good race now here with the lower wings. I'm confident the pace is there, and Intis, let's hope it's there in the dry as we go to 5 red lights, and we're underway for the full Miami Grand Prix. Tsunoda tries to come across to defend. Can we get down the inside? And being very cautious, because I know how easily you can get pinched in. It's a little bit wobbly for Tsunoda, but he maintains first. We nearly got him, but I felt like if we committed a bit too much, you can get so easily trapped on that inside curb. As behind, Doohan. Doohan is the one attacking Tramnitz. It's not Piastri. The Renault is trying to get up into third place. He's overtaken the Red Bull off the line. Doohan absolutely flying. The Renault, there's something in the water here for Renault, because it's seeming like a real stronger race weekend for them. So it's going to be Tramnitz versus Doohan versus Piastri, where it's us versus Tsunoda. We faked from the left to the right, trying to get this down the inside as the sun just glares us, but we managed to commit through. That is probably the most annoying point for a bit of sun to break through, just at the apex, but we got there first. We were on the inside, the better line, and Tsunoda had to forfeit. He's down to second. Tramnitz now maybe in the background. Could he get involved? Could it be a 2 versus 1 situation with the Williams here flying high? We're on the inside. We are deploying some battery, but Tsunoda ultimately has that DRS. We have to try and defend, but we've been a bit too desperate in our defense. That was a bad mistake from me. I bet, you know what? Tsunoda baited me into that. He forced our hand. I broke way too late trying to defend, and he easily gets the switch back there and gets into first place. And meanwhile, behind, Tramnitz now is facing difficulty. Piastri has now woken up a little bit. He's got Doohan. Doohan's actually fallen away now, down to P7. So the dream was brief for Renault, and now Piastri into third. And I'm a bit scared about what he can do, because he's been the most consistent man so far this season. Piastri seems like he is on smoke to really try and get a world championship in this season with Red Bull Ford, now that he's leading that team after Verstappen's departure. But Tramnitz is coming back at him, which I'm glad to see. Really good stuff there to see Tramnitz as an AI once again performing well, it would seem, after maybe a shakier time around Bahrain the last time he was an AI in this season as the new reigning champion. And Colapinto, absolutely insane, great overtake on Piastri there around the outside, just showing that Honda They've been another surprise and a welcome addition to the top line of Formula One. They're in the mixer. Colapinto into a podium spot. But what you're seeing here is on lap 6, Tsunoda, he is controlling this race. He's pulled away from me, and I'm genuinely pushing so hard to try and catch him. I can't. We do not have anything right now to gain on the Williams. The tyre wear is kicking in, and that's hurting me into some of these traction zones. And Tsunoda, we're not, he's not pulling away massively, like, walking away, but I just can't seem to get the gap under 1.5. And with that mistake into turn 1, the gap's now, for the first time, higher than 2 seconds. I think it's time to come in. That turn 1 mistake was just down to tyre wear and a little bit of lack of concentration there, as we just got a little bit disheartened by the pace of Tsunoda. Oh my god! What a camera shot! As Carlos Sainz comes flying in backwards out of frame. Wow, that was insane. And it's a safety car. So just on the lap, I was planning to come in. Amazing timing that there's a safety car. In a way, kind of almost ruins the plan, because I thought we could have got an undercut going on Tsunoda, because I bet you Tsunoda was going to continue on, as were others. But now it's a no-brainer to come in under the safety car. It's a free pit stop for everyone now. Double stack with Tramnitz here. Hopefully this is not going to screw him over too much. He was, P5, P6 before. It's, oh no! It's a slow stop. Where's Tramnitz? Okay, he's coming. Okay, even with the slow stop, I don't think we screwed him over too much there. But that was on the team, of course, not even me. As we come out still in second, of course, behind Tsunoda, we're going to have to see where Tramnitz is. Hopefully he didn't get pushed down too much there, but that's the risk you take with a double stack under a safety car, as we make a little bit of contact with Tsunoda as he's getting a little bit, off and on with this restart. Oh my bloody Nora. Yuki, you can't be doing that, son. You can't be braking and accelerating that much on a restart, as he's blinking away with the ERS light, and we get him round the outside. I feel like that's a bit of karma for that restart, because it was very dodgy from my perspective. But lap 10 onto 11, the rear end wagging away. We've gone on to hard tyres. Tsunoda, you may have noticed, I think onto another set of mediums, as has Tramnitz. A few other people on the hards, like Verstappen, as he's making moves to come back through. He was meant to be up here, but with that penalty, it's been hard work for him, but he's making the most of the McLaren, getting up there, as Albon is the lead Ferrari, just breaking the top 10 as they continue to really struggle. We kind of figured out in Jeddah, it's the battery, Ferrari's battery this season, absolutely awful, which again ties into that notion, like I was saying earlier in the sprint, that clearly, even without R&D changes, the teams and the cars do change season to season, because Ferrari wasn't this bad on battery last season, and as we didn't have this rear wing issue all of last season, but so far we've been 100% for rear wing issues every episode, I think. So clearly there is something in the coding underlying that the cars do change season to season, even without R&D. As Tsunoda now coming for the attack, as I knew he would. He's on the medium. It's inevitable he's going to come and overtake us, probably, as well as Norris maybe, because they have just got the better tyre right now, as Tsunoda and Lando trade purple lap times. We're doing well so far to defend the Japanese driver, but at some point I think it's going to happen. We're going to have to wait till later in the race, where our hard tyre is the better race tyre. But Norris is now going for the move on Tsunoda, so those two will swap. Honestly, maybe Norris might be a bigger threat to us in this race, as the Williams, how long can the Williams keep this up in terms of, being right up here, as Verstappen just makes an overtake there for P7 now. So Verstappen slowly but surely making his way up through the top 10. Tramnitz at the tail end of this train of, led by myself. Norris now right up our gearbox. He's going to have DRS. We're going to be a little bit defenseless. We can use a bit of battery, but I feel like this is maybe written in the stars there that Norris will overtake us. We'll try and come back at him. It's a late lunge. He is so much so, I was panic downshifting. We went down to neutral by mistake because I was trying to downshift so quickly. We've managed to keep it, but it's basically a foregone conclusion, I feel. At some point, and that might be this point, Norris is going to overtake us, as we now are on the inside, but we've gone a bit too deep, and Lando is going to get through on the left-hand side. He's too far alongside us. We have to back out of it. Oh! Williams, what just happened there? Oh, is that damage for Tsunoda? There's no front wing damage. How has Tsunoda not got front wing damage? He might have floor damage though. That William thumped the wall on the left-hand side there. As we now come back at Norris on the left-hand side, he gives us the squeeze towards the wall. We squeeze him back wheel to wheel, quite literally, as we drift through the final corner and edge the Porsche towards the wall and squeeze him out. But now the Mercedes has the better run, have the better exit. We're defending the inside. Can we dive back down the inside? We can. It's a drift into turn one. It's a kamikaze dive to retake the lead. Let's just look at a replay, because I think this is vintage Leclerc-esque driving from me. Big dive bomb, and somehow, like in real life, you just think, how has Leclerc managed to keep that car going in the right way? He's done it, we've done it, and we're back up into P1, very much living the Leclerc life in terms of the aggression here, as Piastri's slow. Was that a puncher? It is! Oh, wow! And the AI has got a puncher, I think just from tyre wear. He's on the medium, so this is massive for everyone. It's early doors in the season, of course, but this is the championship leader with a puncher with so long to go. That could be quite big for the points tally by the end of the race, as Norris is in. Obviously he is, because he's on the medium tyre, but a load of others also coming in on hards. I wasn't too sure, because I was kind of low-key worried maybe the likes of Verstappen might try a one-stop to the end of the race. So I went out one lap longer just to make sure that we were all on the same page about doing a two-stop. Probably lost a little bit of time staying out, but I needed to make sure that they weren't doing a one-stop, because if we were on a 2 and they were on a 1, I was convinced we weren't going to be anywhere near the top then. As we now come in for our pit stop. Oh, no way. 2 mistakes. Oh, we cannot be doing this. That's 2 mistakes in the same race. Back to back for this side of the garage. What is going on, guys? We're now behind both Hondas. We would have been ahead of these 2 Hondas if it wasn't for that. I think we would have lost out to Norris and Gasly with track position, as these 2 now swap positions, but we wouldn't have had to have gone now for the overtake on the 2 Hondas, which we'll have to do now, as Norris overtakes Gasly. Gasly, I think, yet to pit in this race as we dive down the inside of Colapinto. Oh, little bit of contact with Lawson as he shuts the door. It's getting a little bit frosty, a bit close for comfort, but can we now make the move on Lawson to give us, what is it, like 8 laps of clean air to chase after the leaders? It's a... Oh, I'm sorry. Watching that back, I forgot how filthy that dive bomb was. If you thought that one on Norris was pretty great, that was insane. That really was our inner Leclerc there, just sending it and praying and hoping for the best, honestly. And now we're up to second place. We've overtaken Gasly, and now we can try and see if we can do anything to close up to the race leader and try and get back up into P1, which we were in, remember, before the pit stops. And a couple of laps later, lap 24, we're here with DRS. Norris defending. We go for the late lunge on the outside, a bit too deep, to be honest. And this time, it's not deja vu. Lando gets the apex first, cuts across this. That was my bad. We went way too late on the brake. Oh my God. Did you see the Mercedes vaulting over the curb? And that was really something. We're seeing quite a few firsts here from AI. You know, Piastri with the puncher, Lando vaulting the curb like I've never seen an AI do before. Is he flustered? The pressure's on. We're down to single digits of battery. Lando defends the inside, and in hindsight, maybe a little bit too overcautious in the brake zone, but I wanted to go to the inside, to be honest, but Lando's learnt from that previous fight and defended the inside, and he's minced us on the exit there, and we have to remain in second place and try and re-engage for this fight. But good defense from Lando in that second and third sector, but also a lot of that was just my fault of not not braking that little bit earlier to make the corner better, or, sending it a little bit harder, as now we watch Colapinto getting up into third. Honda on for a podium again, is it? As you can see on the tower, Lando's actually got away from us. 2 seconds was the gap, and we brought it back down. So there was a bit of a yo-yo where for one moment I thought Lando was about to run away with this, but on towards the last lap, we have brought it back. We've been determined, and after everything that's happened to Leclerc this season. I'm determined to try and make this a big win of a race weekend. We've already won the sprint race. Can we win the full Grand Prix as we're side by side with the Mercedes? We give him this squeeze out. We're into P1, onto the last lap, on board with the Mercedes round the outside, but we're going to dive it once again and drift our way through, get the elbow out and get back up into first. But now we're the susceptible ones on the back straight, or curves rather, as now the Mercedes will have DRS. We're going to block off on the left hand side, but that's probably the most aggressive I can be on this straight without moving too much for my defensive line. So we'll stick to the inside here. The Mercedes round the outside as we try and park it on the apex, but oh, we lose the back end. We've lost the back end. The Mercedes is through, but you know what, in hindsight maybe that is going to be the better way, because now we'll be behind, we'll be the ones with DRS. This is massive pressure though, because now there's only one corner to make this move, and it's the same corner I fluffed it at a few laps ago, not being aggressive enough. But remember, on Sonoda, we were too aggressive, so we need to measure this very, very well. Lando goes to the inside. That's fine. We'll open up the door this time. We've aimed that brake zone perfectly to go right round the outside. It's going to be the sprint to the full Grand Prix win here in Miami for Chuck Leclerc.
Absolutely awesome. Just amazing, mate. Well done.
Yes, baby. We got it. Please. Good job, guys. Good race. Really good race.
What a drive! What a driver! Charles Leclerc takes the victory.
Race victory and fastest lap as well. You can see how much, by the way, that fastest lap mattered to them today. They're looking for absolute dominance, and this seems to be their mission this year.
It was a tough tussle on the racetrack. It is now time for the celebrations. And there can only be one on the top step. Today, his name is Charles Leclerc.
This was the kickstart to the season we needed for Charles Leclerc on his side of the garage. Don't get me wrong, there's still a long way to go. You know, Leclerc is still down in 7th place in the standing, so it seems like a mountain, but the points gaps are so close. 16 points covering the top 8. Top 10 covered by 32. Sonoda's a bit of a gap there. Top 9 covered by 19 points is pretty crazy. So that's how competitive it's been. And it's a 4th different winner in the first 4 races. We're up to 2nd place in the Constructors, but Red Bull have a bit of a margin compared to other teams, just showing how good they've been. And Piastri and Gasly have been a brilliant pairing, you got to say. But that is that feels like the first proper start to the season for Leclerc and for our season with him. It's the first race win of the season, and it's gone to our new driver, Leclerc. And what a way to do it, in style, on the last lap. Guys, if you have enjoyed it, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.